Oh, yeah. Freak out. Yeah, I'm looking right into the video scope, And this is Macho Man, #1 Macho Man impersonator, past, present, future, yeah. And I'm here to tell you, you are watching 49er Minded with Bashar. Yeah, the cream of the crop. Dig it?
49er Minded. It's not just a thought process, but a way of life. 49er Minded. 49er Minded. Can't shake it. It's 49er mind that I got. It's 49er shine that I got. My psyche's on another Frisco Super Bowl. Don't sit slow, cause here we go with a super show. A red and gold session about a red and gold obsession. With some well-controlled expressions. Let's talk about that win that we got. Who should have been in the spot? That's how they spin in the spot. Let's roll that back, all that crack, all that straight fumble sack. Or just dial it on up if you wanna talk smack. It don't matter what the storyline, as long as the story aligns with a 49er mind. 49er minded. It's not just a thought process, 49er minded, but a way of life. The Shark. 49er minded. Way of life. 49er minded.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of 49er Minded, where we get into the minds of 49er fans. Really excited about this guest. It's been a long time coming for me to bring him on, but really quick, got to show some love to the people waiting patiently in the chat. So let's see who's up in here. The first guy that was up in here was David Sosa. What's up, bro? How you doing? We got Kenny. How you doing? David again says, where's my Niners at? We got Gaming with Nate says, what's good? How you doing, man? Yeah, let's go ahead and bring this guest on. He's one of the main guys, or perhaps the main guy in my book, as far as tailgating goes in the 49er empire. I'm going to tell you the whole story, how him and I got connected, how we know each other, and let's bring him on, man. We got Tone. How you doing, bro? Tone Arevalo, how's it going?
Where my Niners at? What's up, Bashar, bro? Thank you for having me on, brother. Good to see you.
Where my Niners at? That's for you, man. I had to drop one for you, man.
I love it, man. That goes way back to Candlestick.
Yes, sir. I mean, my first days of not the first times I went to Candlestick, but more so the first times I went to Candlestick in my 20s, let's say, were the days when we were pretty shitty as a squad. I mean, it was actually the Mike Nolan era, and yes. This is back when I had my first YouTube channel, Bashar Cali 49, no longer exists, but I was rolling up to the tailgates, hanging out with JD in Sacktown. And, you know, JD, shout out to JD from Sacramento. We all know who he is. 49er Tone, who's a different tone. And we're going tailgates. And back then, the tailgate at Candlestick was Red Zone tailgate at Polar, man. How did you get all started with that? You were like one of the first people I met. You were always on the mic, hyping up the crowd. And how did that all come about, man?
So it's funny if you talk to Los, Red Zone VP Los, I said,
shout out to Los.
I said, we were walking through Candlestick, and there was a eagle with a serpent in its mouth sitting on the R pole, and that's where we migrated. That's the old Mexican story, how the Mexican flag was built. But that's the area that my father used to take me to growing up, and so. Candlestick was a circular stadium, so you can park all around that stadium. And the R pole, the reason why I was always at the R pole, because if you went to the Giants game back then, you got $5 bleacher tickets at Gate E, Pole R. So that was the reason why we would always tailgate there, is because when I went to Giants games, it was always going and getting your $5 bleacher tickets and getting rowdy and having a good time.
Okay. So now I know a little bit of the backstory. But as I do with all my first-time guests, actually, I have had you on my show one more time, but it wasn't necessarily as a planned guest. It was kind of a last-minute thing. When I had Larry Kruger on from 95.7 in Game, formerly KMDR. Amazing guest. He has a YouTube channel, of course. Everybody knows who Larry Kruger is. If you don't know, check him out. Bay Area legend in terms of covering all Bay Area sports, especially the Niners. He was on here. I had the pleasure of having him on, and we decided to do some call-ins and last minute, and I hit up Tone. I was like, hey man, I got Larry Krueger on my channel. If you want to call in, here's a link. I dropped the link, and here comes Tone the first time dropping on my channel. But I wanted to have you on for quite some time as a standalone guest. And I always ask my standalone guests these type of general questions because I know you, but I don't know everything about my guests. And obviously, people watching, they may not know you. But how did it all start? How did you become a 49er fan? And I know you came from big families. I know that's part of it.
So I grew up in San Francisco, Excelsior District. My father was one of the biggest 49er fans growing up. And,
rest in peace, though, to Pops.
Peace to my Pops. And the tradition was, to carry it on with my children, of course, and just his memory being at every game, it was like a piece of him being with me. One of the biggest things that happened, though, is, I was here for the 81 Super Bowl. I was here for the 80. My dad snuck into the 84 Super Bowl. Funny story. But in 88, he passed. And that was a tough year. And I always say, the 49ers won the Super Bowl in 88. John Taylor catches that touchdown pass in the minute and 30-something seconds left in the game. And I've met John Taylor on numerous times. I said, bro, my life could have went this way or that way, but your catch just changed. It's till this day, my favorite game is the 1988 Super Bowl. And that catch I was a big Niner fan already, but that's when it turned into a fanatic. And, first thing you do when you get your first job, you start buying Niner tickets. That was my thing. And so I've missed maybe 4 Niner games in 27 years and, still going strong. I've missed family weddings. I've missed family events. I've probably missed a few, funerals. If someone passed away during the Niner game, it's been, and that's, it's fanatic stuff. So, people in my family would be upset, like, oh, he's going to a Niner game. And I've had family reunions planned on every year during preseason Raider Niner games. I've never went to those family reunions. They had to schedule them on different things. So, you turn into this fanatic, and then you build this tailgate. And you were there back in the day. It was the Red Zone tailgate. And it was because where I sat in section 2, corner of the end zone. And we call it the Red Zone. And turned it into the tailgate thing, brought out DJs, brought out performers, and got sponsored by Monster Energy Drink, if you remember. And the funny thing about being sponsored by an energy drink in those early days is no one knew what an energy drink did if you kept drinking alcohol and then drinking. People thought they were sodas. So now everybody's hammered but can't go to sleep. So they're like, man, I drank 4 of these Monster Energy drinks. Do you know if I look at a Monster Energy drink and you drink 4 of them, you're probably going to die. I don't know.
I was going to say, I was hoping you'd say that people were going to the ER.
Yeah. So there was this one game. We're sitting in section 2 at Candlestick. And I said, what's going on? And my buddy goes, I've drank so many Monster Energy drinks that I feel scared and nervous right now. I don't know what to feel during this game because we're screaming. It's exciting. And those were a lot of losing seasons. And to ride with the team during those days, and to see the team finally win, to leave Candlestick and go into Levi Stadium and leave the Red Zone back where it was and start Empire Row and work with the Niner Empire organization and kind of like to move forward and be innovative. You kind of got to leave the past where the past is and continue to look for change and bring fans together. And that's really where it, in a nutshell, how it all started. And you look back and you're like, man, it's been several years, it's still going strong.
Oh yeah, and for those of you guys who live in the Bay Area, I've seen this guy just randomly. I'll be watching TV back, especially back when I lived in the Bay Area, and they'll be talking about whatever tailgates. And next thing you know, they're interviewing this guy and telling these guys like a known 49er fan. If you don't know who he is, you definitely will find out some way or another. I remember going to those tailgates, and you were always, they play whatever song or whatever, and you had the microphone in between songs. You're like, Monster Energy drink. And I remember they had that big barrel of like Monster Energy drinks. And I was like, I thought you had to buy them and something at one point. Well, I was like, oh, okay, you could just grab them and drink it. But I didn't go crazy. But I was going to say, you out of all people do not need an energy drink. You're just filled with more energy than anybody, though.
Right. You got to come in with the energy. And yeah, Monster Energy drink was a pretty cool sponsor. And those days were some of the funnest days at Candlestick. And let me tell you guys, and you remember this, Bashar, at Candlestick Park, you can go in and out. So if the team was doing down by 21 points at halftime, we would go back out, watch the rest of the game on the TV, drink Monster Energy drinks, and continue to barbecue. You can't do that at any stadium. And I remember the tailgate would just be cracking at halftime. And if they started winning again, you go right back in. So it was a party, man. And you were there for a lot of those. What happened to JP, man? JP would film these videos. You guys were doing little
JP's in
sports
Vegas
talk?
now. He's in Vegas now. I actually ran into JP for the first time since we're talking probably 2013. I ran into him at the tailgate for the Seahawks game, the most recent Seahawks game we had. And yeah, he's only been in Levi's twice, I think. Yeah, that was the first time I seen him in a long time. He lives in Vegas now. But he was always there. He was always there back then. He was one of the first 49er YouTubers. It was Frisco Fitted TV. If you guys remember that back then, that was JP.
Yes. JP would come with this. We did a DVD, a Red Zone DVD, and JP, I think I have that somewhere. And it was all his stuff that he filmed. And I remember after you go to the game, you just couldn't wait to see what JP was going to post on YouTube from the game.
Oh yeah, and every now and then I post some stuff too. We had fun doing that. I do have some of those videos still on one of my digital cameras. I gotta go. Actually, the one video I do have on my YouTube channel is the Mac Mom tailgate party, which we'll talk about in a minute. I kind of wanted to well, you know what? Since we're talking about tailgates, let's talk about that, because a big thing about these 49er tailgates is we're probably. I mean, not that I'm out there going to other stadiums or anything like that. You are. You can speak for this better than me, but I definitely go on YouTube and see what's going on with other teams from time to time. I do not see any other team out there. And I've heard fans from other fan bases say this. And you guys when you guys go to do your tailgates, you guys tailgate on a whole new level. You guys turn it up. I mean, we got rappers, we got DJs. We're showing up to other people's stadiums with like 4 or 5 different rappers and like 4 DJs, man. So how did that all start with the whole rapper and DJ thing? Like, or when you were doing the tailgates at the Red Zone over at Candlestick?
That's a great question. So I was a promoter, so I would do club events and Arevalo Productions. You know, I'd do my two events a month in the city, and I had a couple of clubs. And what sparked it is when I got the sponsor for Monster Energy drink, I looked at the opportunity to take advantage of the tailgate as a day that there was no club competition. So I started inviting owners and other, promoters to be and enjoy like a day party event. So basically there was a lot of networking going on. And then, you end up having another venue. I used to do events at Icon, Monroe, Atmosphere that changed to Hue. And I don't know if you remember, I used to throw little Niner parties too in the clubs. I would do like red and gold parties. Yeah. So we'd bring in the DJs, we'd bring in the artists. And so, some days you'd run into as a promoter, as an event coordinator, you'd run into events where there's like 3 events going on the same day. And so you can't really do your rounds and say what up to everybody in the city that day. So Sundays, tailgates, day party, no one was doing those. And so, bringing out all this network, and then all of a sudden people started bringing out their artists. Mac Malls would come out, San Quinn, N2 Deep. I brought out N2 Deep a couple of times.
I missed that one.
Back to the hotel. I mean, and then, just a lot of artists, Jose Santana. You remember the first anthem, and I'll shout out to my boy Cuddy Cut. He had you know that I'm a Niner. And we would post that thing up, and people were just going crazy over that song. And it sparked the entire wave of Niner anthems because that's when Jose, he had a couple of songs, and then we came out with Ambitions as a Niner, and we would throw these concerts. They were like concerts in the parking lot that were wild. And let me also add that a lot of people don't talk about. There was a time at Candlestick Park where no one brought a generator. We were the first ones to bring a generator and a full-fledged DJ system to Candlestick Park, to the point where the following season, when you got your season tickets, they wrote a new rule that no generator can be allowed in the parking lot. So the way we worked around that is I had my canopies with tarp walls, and we hid the DJ back behind there, and they would come by and they're like, we know you have a DJ in there, and it would be Sick Rick, and he'd be like, dude, man, no one can see me back here, and I'm like, bro, just stay in there for a little bit, because they say that we can't have a generator, I guess. So then they finally laughed, and they were like, just go ahead and do what you do.
The rules would always change. Yeah,
the rules were constantly changing and flip-flopping, and but we bent the rules, never broke them, and the events were always fun and positive energy. And you're talking about 25 years of that, maybe even a little longer. So just to see it develop and where it is today is amazing.
Yes, without a doubt. Let me say what's up to some people who got in here late. Yeah. So definitely I got to catch up. There's one guy who really stood out, and I almost forgot what his new screen name was. We mentioned him earlier. I said JD in Sacktown. Some people know him as Hawk Hater. He's got a new screen name up. Keeping the Faith. Says it's Candlestick reunion in here. Let's go. Can't wait for Sunday at Levi's. What's up, fellas? So shout out to JD. You guys know who he is, man. That's Hawk Hater. He's been on YouTube for a long time. Took a little break. I think he may come back with a vengeance, though. It'll be nice to see if he does that. I'd love to have him on the show. We got, I think it's Pule, SF 49ers. He's always on my Twitter and showing love on there. Shout out to him. Really good dude. And Kenny says Niners fans are the best. And David Sousa said, what's up, bro? How you doing? Says, I'm a 49er writer. It's always good to have you guys in here, man. And how did you, first I want to ask about Mac Mall, how'd you get? So you said you bumped into these people at the clubs, but that was probably one of the funnest tailgates I've ever been to when Mac Mall performed. And how did that whole connection happen, man? Because I still have that video on my Facebook. One day I should play it on here.
Yeah, that's a classic one. Mac Mall was a fun one. Sean G Productions. Shout out to Sean G. Shout out to Black and Brown Entertainment, which is now Biz Latin, Gold Toes, Jose Santana, my brother from another mother. Sean G brought him out, and Gold Toes said, bro, they're doing this Niner stuff. And, Mac Mall, he even told me, he said, man, I've never been, I've loved the Niners, but never became like that hardcore until after those tailgates. I brought him out that one time when you came out, you were shocked. You were like, what? How many of these people are you bringing out? We were having some really cool performances, and he did his greatest hits. And, there was just numerous, and he came out with, it was Mac Mall and Ray Love. Ray Love was his background guy, and they would come out and do all the parties for me when needed. There was Big Rich. Big Rich would come out and do the San Francisco anthem. There was a lot of artists that I've worked with, and it's funny because I'm not a music producer or anything like that. And it's funny how many people have come up to me through the years to play their music or to help them with something. And then, I worked with Jose on a lot of stuff on projects. He's the, Jose Santana, we would have ideas, and we just put them together, and it would be an amazing stamp to those times. If you look up Kings of the Tailgate, that's an album. Dynasty Hits is the greatest hits. Ambitions as a Niner was one of the first videos ever shot in Candlestick Park.
I was there when they filmed it. I'm not in the video, but I was there having around.
It was we brought the whole camera crew out. We thought Mike Singletary was going to take us to the Super Bowl. It was a Monday night football game. I was in the booth. It was one of the funnest days of Candlestick, and I've been to so many, but somehow they gave me a media pass, and I'm in the Spanish channel booth doing the commercial with the microphone and the headset on, Monday Night Football at Candlestick Park. And that was
I missed that. I wish I saw that.
That was one of the funnest events. And then shortly after that, they get rid of Mike Singletary, and we're like, damn, we thought we had a hit. And that's the funny thing about this music is you think you're going to make a song and it's going to go all the way, and it doesn't necessarily do that. So, coming back with another one, 49ers, Can You Feel? We filmed another one. We filmed that one. Those were the days when we had where you were able to go to the locker room and the fan. Remember those fan days where they would open up the stadium and you could do the tour of Candlestick Park?
Yes, I've been those.
So we would schedule video filming days during those events where you're on the field and everything. They don't do that no more. You can't do that at Levi. So like there was a lot of things that I miss about Candlestick deeply, man. And we did as much as we could with the music and with the events to keep the memory alive.
Right. Yeah. It was long, but I definitely wanted to touch that topic because, you're one of I put up tailgate legend, 49er tailgate legend on the thumbnail, but I meant it. To me, you are a 49er tailgate legend. It's not a 49er tailgate unless I see you. I saw you recently at the recent performance for a Young Lot for the home opener, and it's always great seeing you and seeing a whole bunch of other people as well. We're all, especially if it's the ones from Candlestick, the people that you see from Candlestick is just a special type of bond, with those Niner fans. Really quick though, because I know you said you've been in Niner games all your life, and you said you said you probably missed only like 4 games, but do you have any doesn't have to be necessarily your first game, but your first game that you really have a memory of? Does one really stand out that you were at, that you attended, that is, over at Candlestick?
My pops took me to it was the 49ers versus the Falcons when they had the red helmets and the silver pants, and it was at Candlestick Park. Joe Montana was quarterback, and I was hooked after that. It's so funny. My dad would try to drink and be, hey, go look over there. Look at the binoculars. When you brought binoculars to the game, right? And KGO radio would give you, you'd buy your little game day magazine, and it came with a little earpiece so that you can listen to the radio, which never worked. And, those were the days where you like, let me listen to the radio while I'm watching the game. And, you brought your little cooler, and they would let you bring the cooler in, and you would have your food and stuff there at your seat. And those times have definitely changed. But that was like one of my favorite games that I remember because, it was like, hey, you've been at Giants games and now you're going to this football event, and you would go through the parking lot. And if you remember, Bashar, John Madden would always film like the tailgates, and they had these wine and cheese guys they would win tailgate awards and be on TV all the time on Fox with the John Madden, because they would put this red tablecloth out and they'd have wine. And so we got told all those years that we were just wine and cheese fans.
People made fun of us.
They made fun of us. And to come back full circle, I never got to win. I got tailgater of the game at those events in Candlestick, but I never won tailgater of the year because it was so crazy what people did back then to win it. And so when we finally went to Levi Stadium in its second year in winning tailgater of the year, I brought back that wine and cheese look. We brought the red tablecloths out, and next thing you know, we're winning tailgater of the year. And it's just so funny. We made fun of it. We would say, hey man, we're not drinking wine and cheese, but that was the tradition in Candlestick Park when you win 5 Super Bowls.
There you go. So do you have because I know you've been to plenty of away games. Do you remember what your first away game was, or your first big memory from an away game?
Yeah, it was Chicago, and I've continued to go back to Chicago. I love Chicago. I mean, you can say Oakland Stadium, but my out of state was Chicago. And as you know, anytime the Niners are in Chicago, I'm doing a Chicago event. And I just love the food, love the people. I love the city. It's like my third favorite city, Chicago. I got a lot of friends.
Are you a fan of the food out there too, or what?
Yeah, I'm huge fan of the pizza, huge fan of the street food. They got the Chicago dog. There's a lot of history. The bars and clubs don't close till 4 a.m. and they serve alcohol the whole time. So, you can actually plan a really good weekend. This last Chicago trip, which was week 1, we did a double game. The Niners and the Giants, San Francisco Giants, played out there. So we did those parties. That was on fire, Chicago's a great one. Green Bay is amazing. If you get a chance to go to Green Bay, that's an amazing place to go watch a game, and a lot of history. And there's just been a lot of places. I recently tried out Denver. If you get a chance to do Denver, I love the Denver chapters out there. Everybody in Denver is amazing. Beautiful city too.
Oh yeah, and we had plenty of takeovers. That's for sure. It's like nice to watch a Niner game and away game, and not just the Levi South ones, but it's just Niner fans make their presence felt in almost every stadium now. It's beautiful. So keeping the faith, who is also JD Hawk hater, says, ask Tone what are his thoughts on the 49ers not allowing us to tailgate the same length of time as other fan bases do, i.e. the Chiefs, the Bills, Browns, Eagles, etc. I feel like the 49ers do a terrible job of embracing their fans. What do you think?
Keeping the faith, man. You are absolutely correct on that. And that's why I think I think that the 49er organization is finding out that they can't get a lot of fans to come to Levi, and more fans rather go to the away games, including like LA, especially, right? So they do have to make some changes, but I think that issue is with the city of Santa Clara. I think there's a lot of things that are going on behind the scenes that the fans don't always see, that the city of Santa Clara doesn't want everybody out there partying all day. So they have some tighter rules, but like I said, if you were at Candlestick, you can be at the tailgate the entire game, watch it on TV, and still have a good time.
There were some people who used to just watch the whole games the entire time in the parking lot.
Right.
One time, these people had these big TVs set up, and it was a trip. Man. It was fun though. It was fun. Yeah, Candlestick was a trip, dude. It was unlike any other stadium. People ragged on how it looked and all, and the bathroom situation was probably the worst at any sports venue. I don't know about other stadiums, but I can't think of a stadium who would have a worse bathroom situation than Candlestick. It was just horrible.
The horse.
Yeah. Oh my god! It took you back to like the 1920s with that, man. Oh my gosh! Let's talk about this though, because I know you think you know some players, but your first experiences meeting players, perhaps, or like who were the first players you met, and do you have like a really funny story meeting a player or hanging out with a player that we might want to know of?
So my homie from high school, wrestling, football, was Jeremy Newberry. So I don't know if you remember Jeremy Newberry.
Oh, of course I do. Yes,
center of the San Francisco 49ers. So Jeremy Newberry and me went to school, and we wrestled. He was a couple of grades older than me, but we wrestled since we were kids, and played football. Youth football wrestling program was really big in my life, and he makes it to the Niners. Steve Mariucci drafts him in the second round. This guy got me in the player parking lot passes his whole career, so I hung out with every player. And so what Jay Newberry would do at Candlestick Park, the player parking lot was a gated area, so a lot of fans would go to this gated area and just see players getting in their cars and driving out. Well, Jay Newberry created a tradition where he would hire caterers to feed all the players. It would normally be like barbecue, and then there would be coolers of alcohol all throughout the parking lot. So players would let the traffic die down, and you get to hang out with all these guys. And some of my favorite people, it's funny that you asked that question. One of my favorite guys was Garrison Hurst. And I hadn't seen him in a long time. I just brought him out to LA this weekend, and we just rekindled all those memories from the player parking lot days. And if you guys remember, Garrison Hurst was the biggest running back after that was on our team, I consider, after Ricky Waters. And if he doesn't have this injury, you just don't know what his numbers would have looked like.
If he didn't break that leg in that playoff game, man. Oh my god.
There was Bryant Young. Bryant Young was back there. And one of the most funnest pictures was my son. He's 19 now. We drafted some guy named Frank Gore. I don't know if you guys know who that is, but Frank Gore had his
that guy,
one-year-old son, and I had my 1-year-old son, and he's just a rookie. And we take this picture, and I show this to my son all the time. And his son is now in playing football or college or whatever. And then my son is, college working. And, it's just crazy when you look at these pictures and you go back and signatures. And another guy that was really big was Tony Parrish. Tony Parrish was a good friend. Jeff Garcia, man, there was a time when I couldn't get none of my friends in the back of the parking lot, and I tapped Jeff Garcia on the shoulder, and he goes to the security and gets like 15 of my friends in. And like, those are just like funny stories, talking with these guys, having some drinks. Probably one of the funniest stories was Alex Smith's rookie year. We were at a club, and he was a little hammered, and I was with Arnez Battle. And everybody's getting down, and Arnez Battle is like, "Yo, what's going on?" And I took care of Arnez Battle because he was a little wild, and he was into the girls. So Arnez Battle was running around. I'm like, "Bro, we need you to calm down, bro. We got a game on Sunday." So those are like funny stories, and those were in my 20s. I don't know if you guys remember Arnez Battle. He was drafted out of
course.
Yeah, he drafted out of Notre Dame, and he was a wide receiver, but I think he played quarterback in college. So
played quarterback in college, yeah.
Yeah, so he was a fun guy, and that was the year right before we drafted Vernon Davis, and then Vernon was a fun guy too. So a lot of these guys in the what you gotta remember, Antioch, bro. A lot of these players, how would you act with a few $1 million in your early 20s?
Man, I don't even want to know.
Yeah. So looking at it now at my age, and you look at these guys that we draft, and some people make mistakes. You got to ask yourself, like, come on, man, these guys got millions, and they're gonna make mistakes. But back then there was no phones and no videos, and guys were able to get away with a little more. So now you got phones, cameras, and everybody's taking your picture. So yeah, that's the difference, I would say.
Yeah. Okay. So we got JD saying, keeping the faith, says Jeremy Newberry is probably my favorite offensive lineman in the past 25 years. That's dope, Tone. I've always wanted to meet him. I've always wanted to meet him too. I thought he was awesome. He also said, I heard some wild rumors about Kevin Barlow recently. Whoa. Okay. I didn't know about that. I didn't even know he was alive. Just kidding. But I want to say shout out to Baritz.
What's up, Baritz?
That's Baritz, man. Him
What's
and
going
Del
on, man?
Fetty. They do that Red Out song. Had him on the show before. He says, "What's up, Antonio?"
See you guys Sunday, man.
Oh, yeah,
Let's go.
At the tailgate for the Charger game. Yeah. So before we get into the Charger talk, I'm almost done with my little fan questions that I have, because it's your first time kind of being on here as a full-time guest here. And so we talked about the players you met. It's funny that you mentioned Garrison Hearst, because Garrison Hearst was my first 49er jersey. I wish I still had it, but it was one of those jerseys that didn't last well in the washer and dryer. But what's your first jersey that you owned as a 49er fan?
Joe Montana, man. It was a Joe Montana jersey, and that was the Wilson red Joe Montana jersey. And
Wilson. You're going way back with Wilson, though.
Yeah, it was the Wilson jersey. I had to get it stitched. That was when the jerseys were like $200 and something to get a Wilson. Yeah, they were like for a Wilson. And then I got it was Joe and Ronnie Lott, man. Those were my two guys. And of course, Jerry Rice, favorite player of all time, Jerry Rice, man. It's a hard one, but Jerry was my guy. Huge Ronnie Lott fan, huge Joe Montana fan. Love Steve Young, but I have to choose Jerry if I had to pick one.
Hey, if you have any way of knowing when you're going to meet Jerry Rice again or where he's going to be, let me know. That's the only Niner player I would really kind of like make a point to meet.
So back in the Red Zone days, a Candlestick, Jerry asked me to MC his toy drive, which was like in Burlingame, and I let Cuddy Cut perform Where My Niners at that thing, and it was Monster Energy drinks, and that was an amazing opportunity. And I got to bring my son, and Jerry was only doing pictures, but I had a couple of Jerry Rice jerseys, and he wasn't supposed to be signing. He signed those for me, and I have a classic picture. I'll share one of these days with Jerry and my son from that. But Jerry's always been a solid guy. He would do these yearly toy drives where you brought a toy in, and there would be lines of people just with toys, and then you get to take a picture with them. And that was like a Burlingame thing yearly that he would do.
So we got some other people that trickled in. Last but not least, of course, we got
49er Tone, man.
I'll mention him in a second. We got Crew Vibe first, though. He says, my first jersey was the GOAT. Jerry Rice, my favorite player. That's a lot of people's favorite players of all time.
Yep.
And he says those were good jerseys. And we got 49er Tone, not to be confused with the Tone I have on the show right now. Both great, awesome people who I both coincidentally pretty much met hanging out at the Red Zone tailgates, which we talked about earlier. Says Tone and Bashar, my brothers. Tone, love you, bro. Miss you, man. I haven't been out to Levi's yet this year, but hopefully we'll playoffs for sure. But me and Pops miss you, brother. Hey, shout out to your Pops, man. Tone, 49er Tone, I must say. I've told him this before. He laughs at it, and he's like, whenever I say, he's like, come on, he's still a dad. He's just a regular dad. I'm like, no, you have the coolest dad I've ever met. You got the coolest dad, and he's a huge 49er fan. Your dad is awesome, man. Shout out to Pops. We always call him Pops.
Pops, man.
Soon, my brother.
Pops, man. Tell Pops hello.
Miss
you, brother. Miss you, brother. And you should pull up this Sunday, man. Just take a little peek at the tailgate. Be home with the baby and the family real fast after that. Just say you're going to the store real quick. Tone, come on, come up.
Yeah, I definitely want to get Tone back on the show too. He's been on here before, and he's done great on here. So really quick, when we before we get into the football talk, because we're going to talk about the new arrivals to the team, what's going on with the team, and who we're playing. But we mentioned Chicago, and I asked you about the food there, and you mentioned something about pizza. I always drop my pizza question if you watch my shows. A lot of people have their preferences when it comes to pizza. Some people get offended when it comes to pizza. In my opinion, pizza, nothing goes together better with football than pizza. So we got, people who love the New York style pizza, Chicago style. We got Detroit deep dish coming on the rise. In California, they don't really have a name for specific California pizza, but if you get those puffy pizzas with the puffy crust, that's pretty much what California is, around puffy pizza. But what's your preference, or do you have a go-to spot, let's say?
So you get into this pizza war in Chicago. There's Giordano's, and then there's Lou Malnati's, and I like them both. But I always go with Giordano's because I believe their cheese is better. So if you're a cheesy person, then I believe Giordano's is the one. If you want a lot of meat in your food, then Lou Malnati's is good. They're both great. But the funny thing is if you haven't ate the pizza there before, you're not ordering pizza like you do in the Bay Area where you're like, yeah, let me get 2 pizzas. Those are small. You're going to have 1 or 2 slices tops, and you're tapping out. And then you're going to have this pizza in your hotel room with no refrigerator, and you're going to be having like, what did I just order all this for? So that's the lesson from Chicago.
Go there on the empty stomach. But you know what New Yorkers say about Chicago-style pizza? They just call it lasagna.
Yeah, lasagna. Yeah, they call it the pie.
Yeah, exactly. So we got Baritz saying, if you hate pizza, you're bad for 49er minded. Hey, you might have a point there. You go on my Instagram page, I'm always showing the pizzas that I cook up in my backyard pizza oven. I don't hide it. And what up, Mariah from 49er Faithfully Podcast? Shout out to Mariah, awesome person. She runs a great podcast with her friend, great dude, homeboy, TL. They do their giveaways, which is awesome. It's so much fun being a viewer on that show. I had the pleasure of being a guest on that show, and they do a big over there in Las Vegas. Both of them, they're over in Las Vegas.
Oh, Vegas!
Amazing
Let's
people.
Go.
Yeah, check
Vegas.
definitely subscribe to their channel, Mariah 49er, the 49er Faithful Lead podcast. That is, definitely check them out. And by the way, for those of you who aren't familiar with Antonio Arevalo, Arevalo, you can follow him on his social media. I do have his social media links in the description box of this video, to his Instagram, to his Facebook group, where they run all the events, all the information about the tailgates. And if you're ever out of town, going to an out-of-town Niner game, an away game, or a big takeover may be planned, trust me, these guys have tailgates planned for all those away games. They do it. We do it so big, man. I'm really proud of you guys for doing all that.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate you having me on, and it's been a long time, Bashar, man. It's good to see you too, bro.
Always, likewise, man. We're like family, man. We're like family when it comes to the Snyder stuff, man.
I gotta add something real quick too, Bashar. One of the funniest things you've ever done at the tailgate was dress as Jim Harbaugh. Bro.
Oh yeah, for Halloween.
That was your thing, bro. He would wear the khakis. I would crack up every time, and it was just.
I did it once. I only did it once though for Halloween. It was a one-time thing.
That was great.
That was pretty funny.
Great.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny. We just did a Halloween show recently, but I didn't dress up as a Niner player. I was kind of like Jackie Moon, Steph Curry. I had a big afro on my Steph Curry jersey on the Halloween episode on my channel. We did that, which was kind of funny. So let's talk about the team, man. What was going on with the team? I mean, there's some new life injected into this team. There's been, in my opinion, leading up to this season, there's been a lot of hype, and for good reason, for the roster that we built, including myself and a lot of other people out there. Expectations have not necessarily been met, in my opinion. But what do you think about this team, the current situation of this team? And then later we'll talk about who we're playing this Sunday.
I think this team is a great team. I think what I don't like is when the media starts telling us we're going to be very good before the season starts. You already know how that is, right? So this team, I think the 49ers are a team that plays well when no one sees them coming. But the media this year was like, they're Super Bowl, we're going to pick them this. And then I do feel that for the second year in a row, Shanahan started off slow. I think that his play calling was a little questionable in the first 7 games. Okay. And last year, if you look back at, we made it to the championship game last year. It was the Halloween game in Chicago that turned the season around. And sure enough, we just had Halloween in LA. So I believe this second half run is going to be major. CMC is a huge pickup because we just needed a running back that can, and this guy can do it all. If you're worried about Garoppolo not being able to throw the deep ball, well, he just got a guy that he can dump the ball off and make some plays with. We have the most athletic running back that we've had in a long time right now. That's exciting. Our defense is getting healthy. Everybody's getting healthy. So I think the only concern that I would say is Seattle has one of the most easiest schedules right now. So the Niners cannot make any mistakes. And that Seattle game is going to be a big game, a must win for this division. So I'm anxious to see how this goes this Sunday too, because the Chargers are not going to be a cakewalk, but they are banged up. So we'll see what happens. I think this team is getting healthy. And I also, I'm a little superstitious, and you can say that I love Candlestick way too much. I don't know if we've made a presence at Levi Stadium. I think we play good on the road. I think but there's always been those Levi games where things don't go right. So we got 5-6 home games coming up. So we need to make a home. We have to have, the fans got to get loud. We need everybody to pitch in and help this team out, because these are going to be some big games on this second half run.
So you hear that. If you're a 49er fan, you got to get loud at the games, make your presence felt. We do a great job on the road with it. We just need to bring the same type of energy at home. And I get you. So there's a little bit of inconsistency there. Obviously, the CMC arrival, Christian McCaffrey arrival, that definitely brings a big spark to our team. I mean, a lot of people were mad, and there were a lot of complaints around 49er fans that we lost Raheem Mostert. We no longer had that presence in the outside zone run game. The big play element was gone from our running backs, perhaps, especially with Elijah Mitchell going down so early in the season. But we are expecting him back pretty soon. So that's going to be awesome having compared with Christian McCaffrey. I mean, just imagine sets with Jimmy G in the shotgun formation, and you have Debo on one side and Christian McCaffrey on the other side in the backfield. We're going to do all kinds of crazy stuff. Debo's a wide back. Christian McCaffrey, I say, is a running receiver. So it's just all kinds of – it does open up the book. We all know that Jimmy has his limitations, and I'm not going to try to be negative about him or anything like that, but it definitely should help. And, I do love what we brought. As far as players coming back, just a little update as far as who practiced today. This is full practice. Debo practiced today. Jawan Jennings. We're talking – who else? Is he gone? Oh, there you go. You muted yourself. I see you. I had my screen minimized for a second. So Kyle Juszczyk had limited practice today. Greenlaw and Verrett didn't practice. So Verrett's still, question mark. And,
he's getting close. He's getting closer.
Yeah. I think Armstead might be coming back too pretty soon too. So we'll see. It looks like we're expecting a whole lot of reinforcements coming back, which is great, because it sucked when we lost a lot of people. And when Mosley went down, it was like, whoa, this defense was playing lights out. Mosley was having arguably easily his best season of his career. And I kind of doubted Mosley early on in his career, but he was stepping things up, and it sucked to see him go down like that.
This injury bug has hurt us year after year. I've never seen so many injuries like the way we've been seeing them hit us. And, we know that we have a really good depth chart. I'm super happy that John Lynch said F those picks and just got a guy, because I think that if we don't do something this year, I think the fans, we deserve it. We deserve winning. We deserve going to the Super Bowl. We deserve getting this thing done. And now you're looking at OBJ. Odell Beckham Jr. as a possibility. We don't know what they're going to do, but if you're going to go all in on CMC, then you might as well just do what the Rams did and let's get this thing going, because this second half is going to be huge. The thing that concerned me the most was the offensive line. And, I'm glad that they played a really good game in LA, but, this first half, the offensive line was probably not at its best. And, the injury to, of course, Trey Lance, I don't know if you blame that on Shanahan for running him up the middle, but it seems like Shanahan had some bad play calling in a lot of the games too, when you look at the first 7 games of the season.
Yeah, there's plenty of blame to go around with this team, and at times we did get out-coached. Other than getting outplayed, we got outplayed to certain sides of the ball, and we got outcoached from time to time too. The perfect example of that was the Chiefs game, which I wish we could redo, but that was that. You're not going to win every game. It's just how it is. There's this OBJ thing. I talked about it recently on my channel. Talked about it on other people's channels whenever I did a guest spot. I'm not too hyped up about it, but then again, I'm not gonna. He is a playmaker. He is a guy. With his injuries, and I kind of almost see him as a big name. But if they feel like they have a way to integrate him, and they think he's going to make us better, and they think he's going to help us win more games, as long as it's a cheap deal and doesn't hurt us too much in the pocketbook, I can welcome it. Let's see what JD's saying here. He is saying keeping the faith. Says Odell's girls from Elk Grove. Don't be shocked if Odell signs here. They just had a baby and would be close to her family. I heard that same rumor last year when he was supposed to come here last year. Friend of mine's, okay, I'm not gonna say his name, but a friend of mine's in the his son's in the military reserves or something, and he happens to know Odell's girl through that connection locally. And the rumor was that he was going to come here. He didn't end up coming here, but you never know. He might end up here. What is up, Jason Savell? How you doing, bro? Good to have you on. It says, what's good, Bashar and Tone? Late night at work. Great to have you on. We appreciate you, man. He misspelled my name, but he corrected himself. It's all good, man. People make typos. We know how it is. And some people just get my name wrong. So I'm there to accept it. No big deal. But I mean, I like our receiving core as is. I'm a little disappointed that Danny Gray is not in the mix. He's not implemented the way I want him to be, because I was pretty excited when we did get that pick. And but again, I don't know who we let go. I guess if we get Odell Beckham Jr., we got to get rid of somebody, right?
Well, you look at can Odell Beckham Jr. do a better job than Juwan Jennings? And if you look at Odell, he's not going to take Ayuk's spot. He's not going to take, he's going to have to go at. You're going to have to look at the 3rd and 4th spot, right? And so, I don't know if he can beat out a Juwan Jennings, but I will say that defenses have to respect that. And with the offensive line not playing so well, you got Kittle hanging back and blocking more. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do in the second half to get Kittle open more, to get this playbook going the way that it should be going. What you lose with the Trey Lance injury is the mobility in the pocket, and I think
deep ball too,
and the deep ball. But I also think that if you look at the pros and cons, Jimmy G can get it done. He's not going to blow people out, but I think he knows this offense. And I wasn't sure if Trey Lance had the offense down when he got injured at that point. You get better every week. So I think that with this team, I think we can win it all with Garoppolo at hand. I think he just has to do the minimum and not make mistakes. And we got to block for him.
True. Speaking of blocking, I do like what I see so far from this O-line. Not that they're a great, amazing, dominant O-line, but they're definitely playing a bit better than what the expectations were. When we saw that Texans game in the preseason, I believe it was the Texans game, things were not looking pretty, to say the least. So, and at one point, when Trent Williams went down and here comes Colton McKivitz, he stepped in. He got some pretty good ratings from those sites that rate the players, and even Jalen Moore. So once McKivitz got hurt, I cringed because Jalen Moore was looking terrible in all of training camp, looking terrible in the preseason. But even Jalen Moore had stepped in, and he didn't look too bad either. I mean, he wasn't terrible. So we have a lot of young offensive linemen in there, but now they're getting reps. Banks is and he proves that he's proving a lot of doubters wrong. Burford looks pretty good from time to time. He still looks like a rookie. A friend of mine was telling me that He excels much more in the pass blocking, more so in the run game. So with time, these guys will pick up things and learn. So yeah, obviously down the stretch though, the O-line definitely needs to step up. We're facing. Let's talk about the Chargers because we're facing. The O-line has to face Khalil Mack. They're not going to face Joey Bosa. Joey Bosa's hurt. But how are you feeling about this Chargers game up and coming over in Levi's?
I think we're going to have to run the ball. I think we're going to have to tire this defense out against the Chargers. They're going to play it safe. I think if things are opening up, you pass the ball around. But I'm interested to see what Shanahan's game plan, because sometimes it's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. So I want to see Shanahan make the correct adjustments when things are not working, and even our defensive coordinators. We have to be aligned in making adjustments, and Shanahan. It seems like last year, like I said, he finally got it after Halloween when we played the Bears last year. So Halloween this year was the Rams game. So I think that they're ready to go. I think this team is healthy, and I think we run the ball, man. That's why we got CMC, and I think that you put Jimmy in situations to win the game.
I definitely agree with that. Jason Savell says, not too fond of McGlinchey. He needs to step up. I defended the guy a whole lot throughout his career because I love his run blocking, but this year it's been pretty disappointing in my opinion. Do they go a different direction this offseason? And you think they do, but unless they talk him to a cheap deal, unless they really, really like him for whatever reason, they might hold him, keep him around. I'm not sure, but for me, I'd just like to get better at certain positions, especially if it's a position of weakness. Right. So we'll see. I mean, he's going to go up against Khalil Mack from time to time this week. I'm not sure if the Chargers are still using Derwin James as a blitzer, but you made a great point. The 49ers definitely have to run the ball this week. I'm sure we're going to see Christian McCaffrey. Jeff Wilson Jr. was traded away to Miami. A lot of people were unhappy with that. He didn't want to be. He wanted out. So that's what you have to do. If a player wants out, you're not going to keep them around. It's just bad business that way. So we got a pick. Now we have 9 picks. People were bitching and moaning. So we gave up too many picks for McCaffrey. Hey, we got 9 picks coming up in this draft. Sure, they're not first rounders and second rounders, but I mean, how many players would you imagine making this roster anyways? This roster pretty much is pretty stacked from top to bottom, minus a few holes here and there. So it's not like you're going to draft like 13 players and have all 10 players, 10 of those players make the team or something. And so, I'm okay with the trade. We have a dynamic presence in our offense in the backfield now. TDP's hopefully he comes up on the rise. Elijah Mitchell's an excellent running back in his own right. He's coming back pretty soon. A lot of people like Jordan Mason, but you mentioned let's run the ball because the Chargers have the fourth worst run defense in the league right now. Currently, they're terrible at stopping the run. If we don't run the ball successfully against them, I'm going to be worried. But hopefully we do. Pat, just a peace of mind. Their passing offense, they're 14th ranked in the league in terms of passing yards allowed. So we'll see. I don't mind throwing in some play action passing here and there. I want to get Debo more involved. We saw Kittle get in the end zone for 2 weeks in a row. Ayuk's getting into the end zone. Debo's back and practicing. Finally, we have a full game of Debo and CMC on the field at the same time. The wide back with the running receiver. So, what do you think about all that in terms of our offense and performing at full power, perhaps?
I'll tell you what, I'm happy that he's back, and I'm glad that we got CMC because I was getting a little concerned on how many times we were going to run Debo this early in the season. I mean, we started it at week 1, and so you know what the wear and tear on your body is, and by the time we get into a playoff game, you want these guys healthy and fresh, and with CMC there, I think it's better that Debo stays in the passing game. You can put him in on a trick play here and there, put him in the backfield, but I think it's time to open up this passing game, and you got a running back now that can be an every down player. You got Elijah Mitchell coming back. This guy, he's a burner, but he's a guy that you want to rotate in. I don't think his body is going to allow him to take on 22 carries a game. And, he had a big year last year on his rookie year, but he was injured I think 4 games. So he would have easily had 1,000 yards if he just makes one of those games. So he does get banged up. And so I think these two guys with Wilson Jr. gone, he was more your downhill runner. He was more your beast that wasn't afraid to, hit the hole, run between the tackles. You're definitely going to miss him. He's back with Mostert in Miami. And, we got to play those guys in a couple of weeks as well. So one game at a time. I think this game is going to be about, grinding out in the trenches and keeping everybody healthy.
You got that right. So I did mention Derwin James earlier, just a peace of mind. He does like to cover the tight ends. He might be on Kittle. It looks like he'll probably will, but there's a 75 QB rating, passer rating when the people pass towards Derwin James' side this year. So and he hasn't allowed any touchdowns either. So hopefully we change that. If we do throw Kittle's way and Derwin James is guarding Kittle, hopefully we find a way to circumvent that. So also one more thing though, the Chargers defense, they're not only bad at stopping running backs in terms of stopping the run, but they're not so great at stopping running backs out of the backfield either. They gave up a 111 passing rating and 3 touchdowns in the early part of the season in terms of running backs coming out of the backfield. So keep that in mind. That's going to be very interesting. Herbert doesn't get sacked too often. They don't give up a lot of sacks. Herbert's a beast in my opinion. We have to worry about Austin Eckler. He's just a big time running back who scores a lot of touchdowns. What do you think about that?
Our defense has to stop the run, and I have no doubt that we'll do it. You just want your defense to be fresh. The offense has to, keep the ball rolling, control the clock, and get our defense rest. I don't like when our defense is out there all game and our offense is not, they're starting off slow. That's why we need to get these fans loud when we're at home. This is home field advantage. This is a big one. Everybody's got to get crazy and get ready for this. It's Sunday Night Football. You got Barrett's performing at Empire Row. Come on, bro. Let's go. We got to get crazy. We got to get this. Is going to be a big party, man. And then we're going to go right into this game Sunday night and hopefully get this win.
Yeah, that's right. I was going to say something about Barrett's. I was trying to find his actually I was going on his Instagram page. I was trying to find a nice little, here we go. Is this I was going to share my screen and show something about the tailgate, but he didn't advertise it necessarily on his Instagram. Maybe I can find it on Del Fetti's page. So let me say what's up to a very special person in the chat. I've had him on my show. Tommy Nello says, what's up, Barrett's from 49ers for sale. He's really big on Instagram. He sells those pins that go on people's hats, and great dude. Just he's a rapper. He's an entrepreneur.
What's up, Tommy?
Huge diehard 49er fan. He's everything. So, and what's up, Barrett's? Barrett's says again, he said we need consistent, sustained drives and 7s on the board. Yeah, and definitely complete our drives too. Let's not have drives where, and lately we've been getting in the end zone, which is nice, but let's continue that. Let's not have drives where we're just, crossing the 50-yard line, and next thing you know, we're punting. It's like, right. those always, those aren't good. But lately, the last game looked nice, and definitely need to fix that, get in the end zone. And I was trying to find something for this upcoming tailgate. I don't see it advertised too much on here. Let's see. Is this one? You know what? I did find it for South Bay Swag, I think. Here we go.
4-way swag.
Here we go. Let me share my screen really, really quick. This is gonna play the Red Out song by Fetty and Barrett's, Del Fetty and Barrett's. Gonna share my screen in just a second and have this playing for you. This is gonna be at from the Instagram page.
You know what it's all about. Red out, red out, red out, red out. When you hear that line again.
So this is the 408 South Bay Swag tailgate party on November 13th. We're gonna see Jose Santana, who we talked about earlier, plenty.
Jose's not going to make this one. There's an updated play. Yeah. So
okay.
Jose got called into Vegas. We're finishing up the footage for a song that he's doing with his uncle, actually called.
Okay.
Yeah. So
much respect to Jose. He's doing a lot of work with his uncle now, Carlos Santana. Yes.
So there's a song called Energia. We haven't dropped it in public yet, but Carlos played the guitar on it, and it's been hard to get the footage, and it's finally he had to go to Vegas for this weekend, and we'll have him on another one. But yeah, it's exciting for him, and we're excited to have everybody come out to the tailgate and perform, and we're gonna have a good time, man. It's a Sunday night football game, and Let's go. We this is a must-win time. This second half is going to be big because Seattle has an easy schedule, and that when you go on pace with Seattle, we got to hope that they make a mistake, especially when we go head up with them on another game. But yeah, this is Green Lot 1, Pull 20 come
Green
out.
Lot 1, Pull 20. That's what I was going to say.
Green Lot 1, Pull 20. Shout out to 4-Way Swag, man, my brother Ruben and Rudy. They're gonna have swag tacos. I got my boy Big Body Cisco's coming out from Vegas. He's gonna bring out his sponsorship residency hats. We're gonna pull up. There's gonna be some giveaways. It's gonna be a fun one. Come out to Green Lot, Pull 20, Empire Row, 4-Way Swag.
That's right. So Green Lot 1, Pull 20. For those of you who don't know what Green Lot 1 is, it's the main parking lot at Levi's. When you walk in, they get your tickets. That's Green Lot 1. So Pull 20.
Thank you, Barit. Yeah, my cousin Kimani's filming a video. It's good. It's called Debo, and Rico Too Smooth is also going to be performing. So it's going to be a big day. We got some cameras. We got some lights, cameras, action. Sponsors, Bump Box is going to be out there. David's going to bring out the Bump Box. We're going to be taking pictures.
49er playlist from Instagram, by the way. He's all about pumping up the 49er music, all about promoting the 49er music. Tommy Nello from 49ers for Sale is going to give out some free pins. Tommy Nello. Guys, I love the energy you guys bring, and we have pretty much an all-star cast and all-star crew in the chat today. So shout out to everybody in the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
thank you, Tommy. Thank you, David, man. Thank you guys always. Tommy was with me in LA, man. That shit was cracking. Excuse my language, but we had a really good time out there at Tom's in LA, man. Good time.
Tommy's an awesome guy. Had him on the show. I want to bring him back on. Been a pleasure having you on, man. Again, thanks to everybody in the chat. You guys helped make the show a big show, a lot of fun. Pleasure having you on, Tone. It's always great seeing you in person. Always great talking to you about the Niners, about whatever. We share a lot of we like the same teams, and it's awesome having you on, man. I appreciate it. I've been wanting you on for a long, long time.
Yeah, bro. When are you coming out? When are you coming back out?
Oh man, who knows, man? But if I do come out, I'm thinking maybe Tampa Bay game. I'm thinking if I do come out, you'll be one of the first people I'll let you know, and I'll stop by what's up and say what's up at the tailgate. As usual, I always have to stop by your tailgate if you're there. Barrett said David is great at pushing out the 49er music. Oh yeah, without a doubt. I totally agree.
Thank you, David. Thank you.
Yeah,
man.
I wish he'd pop up my song, my "Who's Going to the Game" song with my little fakey 40 voice. You know,
Who's going to the game?
That song needs more views. But just a little public service announcement. I checked my YouTube analytical data. Only half of my viewers are actually subscribed to my channel, so it's free. Just click the subscribe button. I have had people ask me in the past as far as making donations to the channel because I don't have access to a super chat for fans to click the super chat and provide donations. If you're willing to do anything, that's fine because I have spent a lot of money on this channel. This doesn't happen for free. There's a little Venmo information on the bottom of the screen and in the description box of this video. So so before I let you go, man, any final things you want to let the fans know? Anything on your mind?
Hey, man, I just want to say thank you for everybody that always supports and comes out and shows love at the events. And Bashar, thank you for, rolling with me that long, man. It's been a long time. And, it's all about the fans. It's all about this team. And we're planning Vegas, man. We're going to be doing Vegas Invasion. I'll be putting up some details on Las Vegas. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody on Sunday, man. Thank you guys, everybody.
Against the Raiders. What did Mariah say? Mariah said, "Who's going to the game was good. Let's give us a shout out to the song that I put up." Thank you, Mariah. I can only say thank you so many times. I can't, I just keep saying it because it's well deserved. But thank you for all the chatters. Again, Tone, we're going to do this again. Wonderful having you on as a full guest on the show. Thank you for everybody for watching 49er Minded, where we get into the minds of 49er fans. So keep repping those 49ers and stay 49er minded. Peace. Let's go. Come on, 49er fans, let's get it.
Because it's 49er mind.
We gotta do this one time for the Empire.
It's 49er mind. 49er mind.
We gotta get that brick by brick real quick.
49er mind.
Yeah, area. Yo, we can't listen to them haters, man.
49er mind.
We from the Bay.
49er mind.
We them San Francisco 49ers.
49er mind.
We got that red and gold blood inside us.
49